Dear students, let us begin with the third part of the lesson on India as a global power, in which we will learn about India's role in Southeast Asia, Indo-Pacific during COVID-19 in mitigating GHG emissions and India's soft power. India's role in Southeast Asia. In Southeast Asia, Singapore is India's major economic and security partner. It is a gateway in terms of finance, travel and business between much of India and Southeast Asia, and is also home to a major Indian diaspora. India has also conducted maritime exercises and naval patrols with Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia and Vietnam. Trade between India and ASEAN countries can be better, as they are currently severely undercut by non-reciprocated measures by ASEAN countries. While India witnesses exponential growth in imports from ASEAN, its exports have been reduced by non-tariff barriers, import restrictions and other quotas and taxes. India has therefore called for a fair review of its free trade agreement to address trade imbalances and improve market access with ASEAN countries. India remains as one of ASEAN's largest trade partners, and there is potential for further economic cooperation. Greater air connectivity between India and Southeast Asia needs to be in place to promote civilian exchanges, which are currently insufficient except for between India and Singapore, Thailand and Malaysia. India's role in Indo-Pacific. Indo-Pacific as a single maritime entity represents more than one-third of the world population and four largest economies, that are the US, China, Japan and India. Besides, 10 countries of ASEAN are seen as the fastest growing economies in Asia, and the region is considered to be the center of the Indo-Pacific. Indo-Pacific is a construct that is to be seen as belonging to every nation in the world. It consists of 38 countries, shares 44% of the world's surface, hosts 65% of the world's population and contributes 62% of the world GDP and 46% to the world merchandise trade. Confluence of the Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean is called as Indo-Pacific as a single maritime entity. However, it is still in the process of evolution. Geographical boundaries are yet to be demarcated. India is seen as one of the major countries to play a significant role in maintaining peace, stability and security in the Indo-Pacific region. India's increasing naval role in the Asia-Pacific, graduating from the ASEAN region into West Pacific, should also be viewed from two broad but interrelated angles. One, the two-ocean convergence theory articulated by all major powers, which sought to integrate the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean into an integral economic and strategic framework, ignoring thus their distinctiveness. Secondly, China's westward maritime movement invited counter-strategic responses by its rivals, expressed through such acronyms like MASM, Confluence of Oceans and Indo-Pacific, as mentioned above. It will be seen as this analysis proceeds that India's graduation into the West Pacific has been largely a function of America's evolving strategic doctrines, which changed regions beginning with the Western Indian Ocean and its northern and eastern components, South China Sea and the West Pacific, into a geopolitical combine. Both countries, governed by the logic of their strategic engagement, are consensually employing innovative geopolitical terminologies, the Indo-Pacific being the latest. India has the ability to influence strategic behavior in Indo-Pacific through the quadrilateral security dialogue. The quadrilateral alliance is a response to multilateral changing geopolitical realities of the Indo-Pacific. Military exercise around the East Asia Sea should be seen as a symbolic act. Naval power alone is not productive, but alludes to India's decision to join Quad as the right strategic move, as it will help to counter China. But China's assertiveness and its string of pearls strategy have produced anxiety among regional countries including India. India and COVID-19. Post the COVID-19 pandemic, India's stature has enhanced in the eyes of both Asian countries and the world. It has the fifth largest GDP in the world with a total of 2.94 trillion US dollars. India has undertaken several reforms within its domestic premises as well as come up with the potential innovations that can assist in making the world more secure and sustainable. Under its Vaccine Maitri initiative, India has donated more than 6.64 crore vaccines to around 95 countries despite receiving one of the worst blows from the virus, and showcased its commitment to global health and its role as the pharmacy of the world. India is a hub of medical research and its pharmaceutical industry is one of the leading industries in the world. India has also taken the problem of climate change very seriously, and India's Prime Minister has pledged that India will increase its non-fossil fuel energy capacity to 500 gigawatts by 2030. Reductions in emissions intensity and its role as a founding member of the International Solar Alliance reflect India's green energy aspirations. According to data, India has already reduced the emissions intensity by 21% and targets to reduce the emissions intensity of GDP by 33 to 35% by 2030. Further, it is the founding member of the International Solar Alliance, that is a consortium of several countries, multi-government organizations, industry houses and policy makers around the world to make solar energy a viable alternative to non-renewable sources in order to contain the Earth's temperature rise to 1.5 centigrade by mid-century. India as a soft power. Much of current foreign policy literature makes reference to the need to harness India's potential as a soft power in the global arena. The idea of soft power is a concept developed by Joseph Nye, where power is described as the ability to alter the behavior of others to achieve a set of goals. Nye has described power in three ways: coercion, inducements and attraction. Some scholars argue that hard power is no longer a viable instrument for achieving the national interest of states today. They put forward the concept of soft power to be a very powerful instrument in influencing other states or people. Scholars like Shashi Tharoor have stated, I quote, "If there is one independent India to which increasing attention should now be paid around the globe, it is not economic or military or nuclear strength, but the quality that India is already displaying in ample measure today, and that is its soft power." In other words, such an approach would mean highlighting the rich culture and other aspects of Indian society which could attract worldwide attention, directly influence others to support India, and enhance India's stature and position in the eyes of other states and societies. India's foreign policy continues to grow and develop strategic independence. Despite some of the most transformative changes and the beginning of a new phase since the 1990s, India's foreign policy has not changed much. Accordingly, Tharoor writes, the mantra should no longer be non-alignment, but what he calls multi-alignment, which constitutes an effective strategy for new transnational challenges of the 21st century, where neither autonomy nor alliance offers adequate answers. Let us summarize what we have discussed so far in this lesson. India's foreign policy has acquired a new sense of direction. It is seeking to make multi-directional engagements in global politics. Yet, there seems to be an unfinished agenda when it comes to India's relations with Asia. Similarly, the issue of Pakistan and the deficit of trust related to it continues to plague India-China relations. Strengthening relations with Africa, South America and Central Asia must be undertaken. A recent document on the future trajectory of India's foreign policy, Non-Alignment 2.0, delineates, I quote, "It is therefore imperative that we have a clear map of the terrain which we shall have to navigate in coming years, and equally that we have a definite sense of the national goals, values and interests that we need to pursue with consistency and vigor." I hope you understood the various factors that determine India as a global power. We have concluded our lesson. Thank you.